I remember the day Emily told me she'd been cheating on me like it was yesterday. We'd been together for a few years, married for 2, or so I thought. I came home early from work, wanted to surprise her with dinner and maybe catch a movie. But when I got to the apartment, something felt off. The door was unlocked. I stepped inside, calling her name. No answer. Then I heard a voice from the bedroom. A man's voice. I froze, heart pounding. I quietly walked down the hall and peeked inside. There they were, Emily and some guy I'd never seen before. Not just talking, but kissing. Really kissing. It hit me like a punch in the gut. Emily saw me in the doorway, eyes wide with shock. That moment, everything changed. She didn't deny it. She said she was sorry, that it was a mistake, but also something she needed to figure out about herself. I was crushed, confused. How do you even begin to make sense of that? We fought for weeks after. But the trust was broken. Finally, I knew what I had to do. We separated. We weren't us anymore. But Emily kept talking about her journey, like cheating was some necessary step in her growth. She talked about bodily autonomy like it was some get-out-of-jail-free card. And then there was Jake. Jake, the yoga guy she met during one of her healing classes. She said he was her platonic soulmate, her energy match. To me, he was just some guy with a man bun and trust fund, way too handsy during yoga sessions. Jake became a constant shadow in our fractured life. She'd bring him up all the time, stories about their deep conversations, their spiritual connection. One night, after months of no contact, I decided to try and make things work again. I spent hours cooking a special anniversary dinner, hoping maybe we could find a way back. But Emily showed up late. And she wasn't alone. Jake was with her. He's had a rough day, she told me casually, like I was some doorman instead of her husband. I sat there, stomach twisted, while they talked about chakras and energy fields. I wanted to scream, but I held it in. That night was the beginning of the end for me. Because it wasn't just the cheating anymore. It was everything that came after, the excuses, the pop psychology jargon, the way she distanced herself emotionally. A week later, Emily announced she was getting a big new tattoo on her ribs. I was okay with tattoos. But when I asked what it was, she got defensive. It's personal, she said. You don't need to know. I told her I cared, that it mattered to me. That's when she dropped the phrase she used like a shield, bodily autonomy. It was her way to shut me down whenever I asked questions she didn't want to answer. I let it go. It was her body. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Then came the night she came home from the tattoo shop, excitement all over her face. She lifted her shirt to show me. It was a gorgeous tattoo, a winding ivy vine curling around her ribs. But then I saw it. Hidden among the leaves was a name. Jake. I was speechless. The room went dead silent except for the hum of the fridge. She told me it was about their friendship, about how much he'd helped her grow. She dared me to challenge her. I didn't. I just said quietly, I support your bodily autonomy. That's when I realized something had to change. If her body wasn't shared anymore, then neither was our home. So that Saturday, while she was off getting shading done on the tattoo, I made some calls. To my best friends, Sam and Rob. I need a big favor, I said. No questions, just help me move out. They came through. For 8 hours, we packed up everything that was mine. The couch I paid for mostly, the dining table I restored, my books, my guitars, my TV. I left behind things too heavy with memories. Sam kept me moving. When I picked up a framed photo of us, he gently took it from me. We'll deal with that later, he said. By evening, the apartment was empty except for Emily's things. Her crystals, yoga mats, clothes, they all looked small and out of place. I cleaned one last time. I saw the dent on her side of the bed where she used to sleep. A wave of sadness hit me. But then I thought of the tattoo. That name etched on her skin. And the sadness turned cold. I wrote a note, 5 simple words. Practicing my autonomy. Enjoy the space. I left the key on the counter and walked out. Later, at Sam's place with a cold beer, my phone started buzzing. Texts flooded in. Where are you? Why is everything gone? You moved out. Without telling me. Calls followed, angry and confused. I didn't answer. I let it go to voicemail. One message played on speaker. You're a coward. A monster. How could you do this? The next morning, I sent one final text. Emily. You chose to tattoo another man's name on your body. I chose to remove myself, and my things, from our shared home. You asked me to respect your bodily autonomy. I hope you respect mine. The lease is in both our names. You can find a roommate to cover my half. Break the lease and pay the penalty. Your choice. Goodbye. The fallout was brutal. Her friends vanished when she needed a place to stay. Jake. Apparently being a platonic soulmate didn't mean helping with rent. She broke the lease and paid the price. Friends picked sides after I told them about the tattoo. It's been 6 months. I've got a place of my own now. Smaller, but all mine. No ghosts. I heard Emily's back with her parents. That tattoo. Family dinners got awkward. She wanted me to understand that her body was hers. I did. But what she never got was that my life was mine too. She made a permanent mark for another man. I made a clean break, for myself. Autonomy cuts both ways. The weeks after I left that apartment were weird, like I was living in this strange halfway place between what was and what could be. The silence felt loud. I kept running through everything in my head, the cheating, the tattoo, the way Emily acted like none of it mattered. I wasn't angry all the time, but that bitter knot in my stomach didn't go away. Every time my phone buzzed, I flinched, wondering if it was her, or someone else telling me what a monster I was. At work, I threw myself into projects harder than ever. Designing buildings used to be just a job, but now it was my therapy. When I focused on blueprints and beams, it helped drown out the chaos in my head. Sam and Rob checked in often, more than I expected. They'd swing by with beers, crack jokes, and remind me I wasn't alone. That helped. A lot. But nights were still the hardest. One evening, sitting on my couch with nothing but the hum of the city outside, I pulled out my guitar. Music was always my escape. I started strumming, trying to let the noise inside come out. As the chords filled the room, memories hit me hard. The good ones. The bad ones. The way I believed in us, before everything fell apart. That's when I realized, I needed to figure out how to live for me again. I wasn't sure what that looked like yet. But I knew it started with rebuilding myself, from the inside out. After those first rough weeks, I knew I couldn't just sit around waiting for life to happen. I had to take control, not just over my space, but over myself. So I started making small changes. I signed up for a gym membership. At first, I just showed up, kept my head down, did my sets. But over time, it felt good to push my body, to have something to focus on besides the mess of emotions. Sweat and effort became a kind of therapy. Work was going well, too. I took on a big project designing a community center downtown. It was challenging, lots of moving parts, but I liked that. It gave me a sense of purpose again. Something to be proud of. Sam and Rob kept checking in, and one night they convinced me to hit up a local bar with them. It was weird, feeling single again after all those years, but it was also kind of freeing. I wasn't ready to jump into anything serious, but just talking to people, laughing, made me feel more human. At home, I started decorating my new place. Nothing fancy, just stuff that felt like me, guitars on the wall, photos from trips, the worn-out couch I snagged from a garage sale. Little by little, my life started to feel like mine again. But sometimes, late at night, when the quiet got too loud, I'd still think about Emily. About everything we lost. And I'd wonder if she ever thought about me the way I thought about her. Months passed, and things started to settle. Work was busy, my new place felt like home, and my routine kept me grounded. But just when I thought I was moving on, life threw me a curveball. One afternoon, out of the blue, I got a text from Emily. It wasn't angry or dramatic. Just a simple message. Can we talk? My heart sank. Part of me wanted to ignore it, pretend it never came. But another part knew I needed closure, or at least to hear her out. We agreed to meet at a quiet cafe near downtown. When I saw her sitting there, I almost didn't recognize her. She looked tired, like the weight of everything had finally caught up. She started talking, about the mistakes she'd made, the pain she'd caused. About how she'd realized that bodily autonomy and personal growth were just excuses to avoid facing what she'd done. I listened. Not because I wanted to take her back, but because I needed to hear it from her. We talked for hours. Not about fixing things, but about understanding them. About what we lost and what we couldn't get back. When I walked away that day, I felt something shift inside me. Not forgiveness, not yet, but maybe a little peace. It wasn't the end of the story, but it was a step.